Hello, 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 and greetings to all of you who have joined us today. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. And how are you?
I'm doing good, thanks, Roger. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. You sound tired. It must have been a long day, huh?
Yeah, it has been. It has been.
It's been a long day. I can
Yeah,
imagine. Welcome.
yeah.
Good to have you around. Thanks
Thank,
for being here despite the hectic day you've had.
thank you so much.
Okay. I think Elizabeth is with us, but she's currently listening in only. Yeah, but otherwise, she's with us. Erasto, are you there? Are you able to speak with me?
Yes, I'm there. I'm on.
Oh, okay, great. How has been your day?
The day has been fine.
Okay, that's
Rains
great.
have started, but not very heavy, just slow rain. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
okay, that's
The,
great.
the audio, I'm hearing you very well.
Oh, okay, great. Good to have you around. Sorry about that. Good to have you around, and welcome once again. Joining us from
Thank you.
Kenya. You are representing Kenya well on the forum.
Kenya now, not in Nairobi, in Nakuru.
In, is that where you are right now?
Yeah, Nakuru County.
Oh, okay. I hear you. That's okay. Okay, welcome once again. So today we are going to just build up on our conversation when it comes in relation to investing in the future. And one way as anyone can invest into the future is not only by investing in assets, but also by investing in purchasing the right products. Okay, so it matters the type of products that you buy. So for anyone watching us online, those of you joining us, this is the Financial Literacy Forum, where we just connect and have discussions on financial literacy. We do have financial experts on this forum and financial advisors. We do have those who join us from different countries in Africa. But despite us having the presence of financial experts and financial advisors, what you need to understand is that the information that we give on this forum is meant for education and information purposes, discussion purposes only. Okay. If you want to make a financial decision, what you have to do is best make the decision in line with the financial advisor. Like get in touch with the financial advisor. You could get in touch with one of the people on the forum, Mr. Roger. There is a financial management accountant there, and we do have Elizabeth, who's a financial advisor. So you can be able to reach out to a financial advisor on the forum if you need. But ultimately, the information that we give here is just basically for information purposes, right? Yeah, so with that said, we can proceed with our discussion. So normally what we do is that we have three segments on this forum. The first segment that we have is where we go through a book because we do believe a huge part of financial literacy is knowledge. Knowledge not just about entrepreneurship, but lots of knowledge, marketing, okay, just learning about the world, economically speaking and socially speaking, how the world works. A lot of financial literacy is anchored on knowledge, actually, not necessarily just learning about finance. Because if you think about it, finance is related to many aspects of our lives, social, economic, and different aspects of our lives, right? And understanding the world from a broader point of view helps us manage our financial matters more in a more disciplined way and in a more effective way. So that is why we go through our book sessions. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Then from the books, we do have just a brief discussion concerning the topic that we have, and so we go through some discussions and we just have an interesting time sharing ideas based on a particular topic. Today we're talking about investing in the future, buying the right brands, right? Yeah. So then finally we end with watching success stories from companies or stories of failure. You can learn from both. You can learn from success stories, you can learn from failure. Both are very educative. So that's what we are going to do. Livet, welcome. How are you?
Come, Mr. Favor, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good to have you around.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Hello, everyone.
Livette is saying hi, guys.
Hi, Yvette.
Yes. Yeah, so it's great. The other day I was talking to somebody who wanted to, this is just on a side note, okay? Just for on a side note. The other day I was talking to somebody who was trying to make an investment. And then I asked them a question. Have you ever sat down with a financial advisor to tell them about your plans? And the person said, what will the financial advisor do? And I said, I've heard you talk about meeting a lawyer. I've heard you talking about meeting maybe an engineer because you're trying to build something. But I've never heard you say I'll meet a financial advisor because of a decision you're making. I said, what will a financial advisor do? And then the person explained to me saying, because me, I have the plan. If I get the money, I know where I'm going to take it. And I know what I'm expecting to get out of the investment. I said, okay, yeah, that's fair. But can you write it down in a way that can be interpreted by anybody according to the standards that exist? He said, no. I said, that is what keeps you accountable. When you write down a plan in a way that is able to be interpreted by any other person within the same agreed standard, okay, of which an industry can be a standard, a standard can be derived in any way, right? But when you do something written, if I write a plan by myself, personal plan, only me can interpret it. You get what I mean? I'm the only one who can interpret the plan. But if I get a financial advisor to be able to look at what I'm thinking about and write it down properly for me and give it to me, it's actually a good way to keep ourselves financially accountable. So let's think of those things. So like I said, we have people on the forum here. I'm sure with time, we'll take the initiative to begin to see how accessible the people that we get to have on this forum can be for you in case you're finding sense in some of the things that we're saying. So guys, can we get into the video for today? Mr. Roger is asking like this.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll pick up from last week. For those of you who got the chunk of it last week, it will be more of a revision. For those of you who were not able to go through the video with us last week, you'll be able to just learn and we can pick up from there. So I'll connect us with the first video, which is a book. The book is titled The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. So what the idea here is for us to learn about how brands affect our buying decisions. Because think about this, how many times have you ever gone in a shop and you know exactly the contents of what you're buying? It's rare that happens. Or for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm not. I know there are people out there who are very deliberate, and I use it because the brand is that you get the sense. Like, yeah, and we're going to do some demonstrations to show how powerful brands influence us, right? Yeah, for me, I buy. Say, why have you bought this product? Why this particular one? Because I just know the brand. You get the sense. Why are you buying this type of soda? Why not buy any type? I know Coca-Cola. Why are you buying this? You just know the brand. You get the sense. Yeah, so let's get into, we learn about those 22 irrefutable laws of marketing so that we can just get an idea, a sense of how these brands position themselves in the market to influence our buying decisions. And then from there, we can think about how we can be more responsible in our expenditures to invest wisely into the future through our purchases. So I'll connect us with the video and then we'll get back with our discussion.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever wonder how successful brands achieve their success? Or how they maintain their positions in the market once they become successful? Could it be that there are marketing laws out there that create massive success for the brands that obey them? The answer is yes. So, stay tuned, because we're about to discuss these laws in the timeless marketing classic, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing by Al Ries and Jack Trout. Let's get right into it. Law number 1, the law of leadership. It's better to be first than it is to be better. The leading brand in a category is almost always the first brand into the prospect's mind. So, let's talk about some categories and their leaders. What about rental cars? Well, that's Hertz. What about cola? That's Coke. What's the leading American college? Harvard University. All these leaders were also first in their respective categories. Being first into the prospect's mind can even lead to your product's brand name becoming the generic name in the category. Some examples of this phenomenon include Kleenex, Band-Aid, or Scotch tape. Law number 2, the law of the category. If you can't be first in a category, set up a new category that you can be first in. Many people know that Charles Lindbergh was the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean by himself. Bert Hinkler was second, and almost nobody remembers him. However, everyone remembers the third person to fly the Atlantic Ocean solo. That's Amelia Earhart. She's famous because she found a new category to be first in. She was the first woman to fly the Atlantic Ocean solo. Law number 3, the law of the mind. It's better to be first in the mind than to be first in the marketplace. In the early days of personal computers, there were 5 real competitors: the MIT's Altair 8800, the Apple II, the Commodore PET, the IMSA 8080, and the RadioShack TRS-80. The first of these to market was the MIT's, introduced in 1974. Apple didn't introduce the Apple II until 1976, 2 years after the MIT's. Which name do you think got into the mind of the consumer first? That's right, the simple, easy-to-remember brand name that changed the world: Apple. Law number 4, the law of perception. Marketing is not a battle of products. It's a battle of perceptions. For example, at the time this book was written, Honda, Toyota, and Nissan were the top 3 best-selling Japanese imported automobiles in America. At the same time, in Japan, Toyota was the best-selling brand, followed by Nissan and then Honda. This begs the question, if the cars were pretty much exactly the same, why the discrepancy between sales in the 2 countries? It's because Honda got into the mind of the Japanese consumer as a manufacturer of motorcycles, not cars, and most people don't want to buy a car from a motorcycle company. Law number 5, the law of focus. The most powerful concept in marketing is owning a word in the prospect's mind. Let's talk about several brands you know and the words they own. FedEx owns the word overnight. Xerox owns the word copier. Hershey's owns the word chocolate bar. Coca-Cola owns the word cola. Volvo owns the word safety. BMW owns the word driving. The most effective words are simple and benefit-oriented. Once you decide on a word that will define your brand, narrow your focus and own that word in the marketplace. Law number 6, the law of exclusivity. 2 companies cannot own the same word in the prospect's mind. Once a competitor owns a word, you need to avoid using that word in your marketing campaigns. For example, Volvo owns the word safety, yet automakers like GM and Mercedes continue to make advertisements that focus on the safety of their vehicles. Advertisements like this make customers think about safety, which makes them want to go buy a Volvo. Law number 7, the law of the ladder. The strategy you use depends on which rung you occupy on the ladder. Avis executed perfectly when it ran an advertisement acknowledging its number 2 position on the ladder. The advertisement went like this: Avis is only number 2 in rent-a-cars, so why go with us? Well, we try harder. When you're not the biggest, you have to. This message perfectly related Avis to Hertz within the mind of the consumer and gave Avis an unshakable position on the rent-a-car ladder. Law number 8, the law of duality. In the long run, every market becomes a two-horse race. In 1969, there were three major brands of cola: Coca-Cola, which held 60% of the market, Pepsi, which held 25% of the market, and Royal Crown, which held 6% of the market. In the 1990s, Coke held 45% of the market, Pepsi held 40% of the market, and Royal Crown held only 3% of the market. Law number 9, the law of the opposite. If you're shooting for second place, your strategy is determined by the leader. The key here is not to be better than the leader. The key is to be different, to be an alternative. Scope presented itself as the good-tasting mouthwash by hanging the medicine breath label on Listerine. In so doing, Scope perfectly attacked the leader's weakness and became the alternative for prospects that didn't like the burning medicine flavor of Listerine. This strategy quickly carried Scope to the number 2 position in the mouthwash category. Law number 10, the law of division. Over time, a category will divide and become 2 or more categories. Take computers, for example. Over time, the category split into other segments, like mainframes and mini-computers, and then mini-computers split into personal computers and laptops. Then it split again into smartphones and tablets. Each segment of a category is a separate and distinct entity, and each segment is thus an opportunity for a brand to become the leader. Law number 11, the law of perspective. Marketing effects take place over an extended period of time. Companies and people often forget the old adage, short-term loss for long-term gain. Let's use a limited time sale to illustrate this law. In the short term, a sale will get customers in the store and increase revenue. However, these limited time sales often decrease business in the long term because they teach customers not to buy the stuff at regular prices. After all, why would I buy at the full price if there's going to be a sale later on this year? Law number 12, the law of line extension. There's an irresistible pressure to extend the equity of the brand. A line extension typically involves taking the brand name of a successful, established product and using that name on a new product. When a company does this, it ultimately weakens the long-term stability of the established brand for a short-term increase in revenue from the new product. Here are some examples of established brands and their line extensions: Tanqueray Gin and Tanqueray Vodka, 7-Up and 7-Up Cherry, Heinz Ketchup and Heinz Baby Food. Law number 13, the law of sacrifice. You have to give up something in order to get something. Take Smucker's Jam, for example. Smucker's is a jam company. Kraft, on the other hand, is an everything company. At the time the authors wrote this book, Smucker's had 35% of the jam market, and Kraft had 9%. Hellmann's is focused on mayonnaise, just like Smucker's is focused on jam. Is it any surprise then that Hellmann's had 42% of the mayonnaise market, while Kraft had only 18%? Law number 14, the law of attributes. For every attribute, there is an opposite effective attribute. For example, Coca-Cola positioned itself as the original and the real thing, and so it was the choice of the older generation. Pepsi noticed this and then successfully positioned itself as the cola for a new generation. Law number 15, the law of candor. When you admit a negative, the prospect will give you a positive. For example, Scope Mouthwash marketed itself as the good-tasting mouthwash, exploiting Listerine's unpleasant taste. In response, Listerine brilliantly invoked the law of candor with this message: the taste you hate twice a day. In judo fashion, Listerine used a negative, its not-so-pleasant taste, to to reinforce the idea that something that tastes like disinfectant must indeed destroy germs and freshen breath. Law number 16. The law of singularity. In each situation, only one move will produce substantial results. This law is related to the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which states that 80% of results come from 20% of causes. In any given situation, there is one marketing move that will produce substantial results. Thus, rather than spreading a company's resources over a multitude of marketing strategies, the skilled marketer will study the marketplace and implement the one bold strategy that will produce the greatest reward. Law number 17. The law of unpredictability. Unless you're the one writing your competitors' marketing plans, you can't predict the future. Flexibility is the best way to fight unpredictability. A company may increase its flexibility by focusing on a long-term direction rather than a long-term plan. A long-term plan contains assumptions about the future, while a long-term direction assumes change and volatility. A long-term plan is rigid, while a long-term direction is flexible. Law number 18. The law of success. Success often leads to arrogance, and arrogance leads to failure. The key point here is that ego is the enemy of successful marketing. As companies achieve success, they often become arrogant and lose the objectivity that made them successful in the first place. The best marketers don't let their own views and biases infect their marketing campaigns. They remain objective and think like the customer thinks. The best marketers put themselves into the customer's shoes and see the world as the customer sees it. Law number 19. The law of failure. Failure is to be expected and accepted. Failures are inevitable, but that doesn't mean a marketer shouldn't take risks. Instead, the key is to take calculated risks, expect some failures, and recognize the failures as early as possible. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, was a marketing genius who used what he called the ready, fire, aim approach to marketing. Unlike other big companies that punished any form of failure, Walmart rewarded creativity and encouraged risk-taking and marketing experiments. Law number 20. The law of hype. A company's financial situation is often the opposite of the way it appears in the press. When things are going well for a company, it doesn't need the spotlight or hyped-up press conferences. In fact, if a company is seeking to maximize hype, this likely indicates that the company is in financial trouble. For example, Coca-Cola spent hundreds of millions of dollars to launch New Coke in the 1980s. New Coke received more hype than any soft drink in history, with over $1 billion in free publicity. The brand was a miserable failure, and Coke brought back the original formula within just a few short months. Law number 21. The law of acceleration. Successful programs are not built on fads, they're built on trends. A fad is like a wave in the ocean. It's very visible, but it's also volatile, and it swings up and down. A trend, on the other hand, is like the tide in the ocean. It's nearly invisible at any one moment, but it has a very powerful effect over time. Fads get lots of attention, while trends are rarely talked about. Fads make a burst of money in the short term, while trends make sustainable long-term money. Law number 22. The law of resources. Without adequate funding, an idea won't get off the ground. It takes money to get a brand into the mind of the consumer, and it takes money to keep it there. A mediocre idea with $1 million to back it up has a greater chance of success than a fantastic idea with no financial backing. For example, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak had a great idea with Apple, but it was Mike Marcula's $91,000 that put the company on the map. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Yeah, so those are the 22 immutable laws of marketing. Yeah. I hope I've been saying the right word from the beginning. If not, then forgive me. But it's the 22 immutable laws of marketing. So we can see that brands do a lot to position themselves in the market, and those are some of the strategies that they put in place. I can see Milton has joined us. Hi, Milton, how are you? I don't know if you're able to speak. Your mic is muted.
Hi, Mr. Favor. I'm good. And how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Are you sitting outside?
Yeah, I'm in a vehicle.
Oh, are you comfortable though?
Yes, I'm comfortable.
Oh, okay. Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Okay, so we are just talking about how brands can affect our buying decisions, purchasing decisions, and how that impacts our financial future over time, right? So to demonstrate the power that brands have, I just want us to do a small exercise together to try and identify certain brands. Okay, not identify, to identify certain items, okay? Okay, so look, let me show you the exercise. So I'll start with recapping on the topic for the day, which is investing in the future, buying brands that matter. Okay, and the exercise will be, just a minute. Okay, yeah, so we have to identify the object by their generic term. Okay, when I say identify the object by the generic term, don't call it by its brand name. Okay, call it using its generic name. What is it that is on the screen? Okay, so I'll show you some objects and then we can be able to identify them. So let's participate and see how we can interact based on whatever it is that we're going to be able to see. Okay, so I'll start with the first object. What's this? Can anyone identify what this is? You can just feel free to unmute and speak up. No need to raise the hand or anything.
It's a
Yes,
Colgate.
Toothpaste. Or
Okay.
generic
So you see what happened just there, right? This is what I'm talking about. So Milton said Colgate, your copy said toothpaste. So the generic name of this is toothpaste, okay? That's the generic term. But we call it Colgate because of their leader in the market. You get the sense, right? Yeah, they are leading in the market. So if I want to buy toothpaste, I don't even say toothpaste. I say I can't buy Colgate. You get the sense? And then they give me this toothpaste. But then if somebody was to ask you, what do you know about Colgate? Like, what do they promise? You can't even tell, you can't even say why you buy Colgate, why it's better than, you can't say. But just because the brand is so popular, still we go ahead and make the purchase. So yeah, that's a good example there. Let's see if we can also identify others. How about this? What is the generic term for this? The generic term. Is anyone going to help us on that?
Yeah, I think it's bath soap. Bath soap.
Bath soap, okay. Any other views?
It's Ditto.
Dettol. Yeah, so it is bath soap. I don't know if it's bath soap or bathing soap. You see the Zambian in me now. The Zambian in me says bathing soap, but I don't think that's correct. This is actually bath soap, yeah? Yeah, but the brand name is Dettol, okay? The brand name is actually Dettol. So yeah, let's see if we can identify other products. Anyone identify what this is? Can anyone identify this?
You can kindly help us identify that. Thank you.
My problem is the word, I don't know whether it's specific to my area.
Yeah, that is why we wanted to say it, so that we know.
Was it Elastoplast?
Elastoplast.
Yes. Ever heard of
Okay,
that?
no, I've never heard of it, but that's interesting. Roger, how about you? What do you call this? When you send someone to go and buy this, you say go and buy what?
Let me not say it.
You have to have said I've said ours. No say.
Your copy
In
has
my
said her.
village, anything to do with is it putting on sores or what is called bandage? Whether it is what you call it bandage.
Anything, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So this actually, okay, this is called an adhesive bandage. Okay, but there are places where this is called band-aid. I think you've heard of some people call it band-aid. Go and buy a band-aid. Band-aid is a brand. So band-aid labeled like this is a bandage. So you can hear the play in words. Huh? They just said, okay, our brand will be band-aid. You get the sense. So they know it's one of the laws actually was mentioned in the book where you own a word and run with it in the market. So yeah, these guys are very interesting how they do that. How about this? What is this?
Cornflakes.
Cornflakes. Okay. Mr. Roger, any
We
idea
call
what
it
this is?
we call it cereal.
Cereal. Okay. Is it cereal? Is it cornflakes? Let's see. Mr. Roger, any other name? Maybe Kellogg's. Okay, so this is actually cornflakes. Yeah, that's true. Cereal is a bigger term. Okay, cereal is a bigger term. So this is actually cornflakes. And then yeah, so let's see if we can identify others. Oh, I think I've either run out of images or something. I don't know. Let me check, just a minute. Okay, so what about this? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Anyone can identify what this is?
It is an iPhone.
Okay. How about others? Livette, what is it?
Yeah,
It's a phone.
it's a mobile.
Phone.
It's a mobile phone.
Newton says phone. Livette says mobile phone. Okay, great. This is actually it's a smartphone, correct? It's not just any type of, it's a smartphone, yeah, but it's commonly known as the iPhone. So yeah, it is the iPhone, yes, but mostly iPhone and smartphone is like they go together, right? Because of the brand in the market. Yeah, so I think I have one more. So let's see. How about this? What is the generic term for this? I think these are easy, these.
Benz.
Benz. Yeah, it's a Benz, this one. The generic term for this is the car, yes. So I think we all know that. But yeah, it feels nice calling it. It doesn't even feel like you're respecting it if you call it a car.
Yeah,
It
this is
doesn't,
not
yeah,
a car.
it's not a car. It doesn't feel like you're respecting it. You have to call it the Benz. That's why it to be respected. But you
It's a
see,
car and a half.
it's a car and a half, exactly. Yeah, so you see, that's how powerful brands are. A brand can affect our judgment so much that even if you don't know the components of what you're buying or anything like that, you still buy. Why? Because that the brand has actually affected your decision making. But the question is, how can we become more intentional in the products we buy? Is there anyone who can have an idea on how we can do this? How can we become more intentional in the products that we buy, where we are not just buying because of the brand, but we're buying actually because we know what is behind the product? maybe someone can even share if you've had an experience where you buy something because it was hyped. You know those things where the product is incredibly hyped in the market and you buy it and you find, oh my God, it's just a pure waste of time. Anyone to share such a story if you had that such an experience?
I'd say this happens a lot, especially to girls, buying skincare products where you're buying the latest one that is being hyped, without getting more knowledge on the products. Just because a celebrity, you know, has said this is what we are using now, so everyone buys that without looking at the side effects or the products being used.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a very good example. Thanks for that, Lugabi. It happens a lot, child ladies. Mr. Roger, on the guys' end, any ideas on how this happens?
Okay, but I think mostly with the guys, it's the same, not only ladies, but also with the guys. They always go for names. For example, no, this is Nike, this is what, you understand. But at the end of the day, just because of the name, you don't even really understand how the original product looks like compared to a fake product. Because at the end of the day, now these guys are coming up with fake products to try and capitalize on the other people's brands. So you end up buying something, but at the end of the day, you regret to say, why did I even buy this?
Yeah. That's interesting. So, but how can we protect ourselves from that? Maybe to make better buying decisions as far as financial interest is concerned. Any ideas on how we can do that? I think researching is a good idea. Doing more research before you buy any product. That's one thing that I know definitely. But that's the thing, when buying products, you don't research. You just look at price and how this will look for me. That's we don't normally do our research. But that's one thing that I feel can be done a lot to help us to be able to help navigate such type of challenges, especially in the world today like this. Milton, any other ideas apart from research that can help us make better buying decisions? On your copy, you have your mic unmuted. You can go ahead.
I'll come in after Milton. All right,
Okay, let me just check if Milton has anything. Milton, any ideas?
I think, as you rightly said, research, but at times you don't have much research, especially when you are faced with a lot of products on competition and you need to purchase one. But what I normally do is, if I go into a shop and there are actually a lot of the same products, I end up actually asking those who are working in the shop their preferences. Just asking someone would actually advise you of a better brand because maybe they have some feedback from the customers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good strategy as well to some extent. Recommendation, customer recommendation. Yes, Mikabi, you wanted to say something, you can come in now.
Can we go back to the question? The question was talking about
intentional buying. How can we improve our buying decisions to be more intentional rather than just moving with the branding, the marketing?
Can I say maybe we stop impulse buying when a brand releases a new product? Because I feel like by the time a new product is coming up, do I really need that product, or am I just buying it because we are buying it? It's in season. I feel like we don't really need the product as much as we are buying it. I don't know if I make it. Okay.
Yeah, impulse buying is something that we should be able to avoid. Thanks for that, Nugabi. So there's one great strategy, actually. It's an interesting strategy, but I found it pretty awesome. It's called lifestyle planning. So if you can spend your time planning the way you want to live your life, it's going to inform the products to buy, actually. It's something I've found very few people do this, but I know there is one of the reasons why lifestyle planning is difficult is because when you don't have the money, it's difficult to do lifestyle planning because your budget will determine what you buy. Okay, but that's why we are here, right? When we talk about financial literacy is more about moving outside your comfort zone and not necessarily about keeping yourself in a box. I think we've had these discussions before. When we talk about financial literacy, most people talk about financial literacy like budgeting, you have to tighten your belt, don't spend, and things like that. But no, I think Nyokabi said something very interesting, that what financial literacy did for her is that it showed her that rather than focusing on the expenditure side, focus on the income side. How can I increase my income? How can I make it more passive and more compounding in nature, where it's incremental, right? If you can think in those lines, like how you can achieve those goals, if you're thinking that way, it's easy to plan a lifestyle. Even if you're not living the lifestyle that you want to live in that moment, you can think about the lifestyle you want to live and become more intentional slowly, right? You cannot probably do it overnight, but slowly. For example, some of the sodas that we drink are not worth it, right? But it's just like you have no choice. You just go and get and drink at the end of the day. Some of the cooking methods, even cooking methods that we use, it's just that we use them because we've got no choice. But actually, they're not good if we factor in lifestyle planning. If we actually, and a good way actually to do lifestyle planning is a vision board. That's a very good way to establish lifestyle planning. So you see how robust financial literacy is, right? Now we are talking about vision boards. And who do you hear talking about the vision board when they're talking about financial literacy? Only here on the financial literacy forum, because we know how to connect concepts here, right? Yeah, that's what we do. So if you have a vision board, okay, that vision board is able to show you, okay, I want to live this way, I want to look this way, I want to drive this way, you define the type of life you want to live. It's going to inform your buying decisions. Whenever you're making a purchase, you can be able to think, how can I make this? Either you can think, how can I make this happen? Or how can I avoid this, right? Yeah. Now, we don't have much time to dive into those nitty-gritty details. As we go along, maybe we will unpack some of these things. For now, what we can do is we'll move into our third segment because we're about to close. So in our third segment, we're going to listen to a story, watch a story about a brand that maybe a lot of us here don't know, because most of us joining here are from Africa, so we don't know the brand. But the brand is an American brand. They do motorcycles, okay, motorbikes. So we're going to look into that brand. We're going to see how it developed and how it lost its popularity at the time and what factors led to that. The brand can really help us put into perspective, once again, how much time and effort companies put in just to position themselves correctly in the market, so that you can buy even if you don't know what they're about, but you still buy. So it will give us more, watching how this brand has evolved over time and how it has affected people's buying decisions is going to show you exactly what we mean when we put this in context. So let's just connect to the third segment for this evening, and I'll be back shortly for more interactions.
You don't have to be a biker to know about Harley Davidson. Harleys are big, loud, fast, and inherently American.
Until you've been on a Harley Davidson, you haven't been on a motorcycle.
You get some of that instant respect just riding one alone.
And for decades, that iconic American brand worked. In 2006, the company's US sales peaked. It sold over 260,000 bikes in the United States and reported a profit of $1 billion. But after the recession struck in 2007, Harley's sales plummeted, dragging the stock price down with it. And the company still hasn't completely recovered.
In decades, they could wind up just disappearing. We'll all still associate Harley-Davidson with being the greatest motorcycle brand in the world, but there won't be any motorcycles. You won't be able to buy one.
So, what happened? Harley-Davidson got its start in 1903 out of a shed in Wisconsin, where William Harley and Arthur Davidson made their first motorcycle. But the company didn't really take off until World War II. And in a way, if it weren't for the war, Harley-Davidson may not exist today. During World War II, Harley-Davidson produced about 60,000 bikes for the US military.
This was when you really have people who've never experienced serious machinery that can deliver. I mean, it's a machine of war, but it's also a hell of a lot of fun.
A terrific test for men and machines. They take the bumps in high gear. Now they're real veterans of the saddle.
After experiencing the atrocities of war, soldiers returned home and saw America in a different light. And out of that, they created a counterculture that would become the building blocks for the Harley-Davidson lifestyle.
America is a very conservative place at the time. And a lot of guys came back from that and they said, I'm not interested in that. I'm gonna get me a Harley-Davidson motorcycle and I'm gonna go live on the road. I'm gonna live my life on my terms with freedom, mobility, attitude.
Between 1945 and 1970, the number of registered motorcycles in the US jumped from 198,000 to 2.8 million. But it was Hollywood that set Harley-Davidson motorcycles apart from the rest, with films like The Wild One and Easy Rider featuring Harleys.
All we represent to them, man, is somebody who needs a haircut. Oh, no. What you represent to them is freedom.
By the end of the 70s, Harley-Davidson wasn't just selling motorcycles anymore. It was selling a lifestyle, with jackets, vests, and t-shirts. Harley-Davidson even had its own club called the Harley Owners Group for devout customers. In short, if you owned a Harley-Davidson, you were cool. And baby boomers took notice.
The core baby boomers, they're the ones who really built Harley up into the juggernaut that it became in the post-war period.
By the 80s, baby boomers were prospering, and so was Harley-Davidson. The Harley Owners Group grew to more than 90,000 members. In 1984, the company made a profit of $2.9 million. Just 2 years later, profits hit $4.3 million. Harley-Davidson went public in 1986 and continued to rake in cash into the millennium. In 2006, as its core customer reached middle age, the company's stock price peaked and it reported over $1 billion in profit. But then in 2007, the recession hit. Like many companies during the Great Recession, Harley struggled with its sales. Its stock price plunged by 60 points from its peak in 2006 to 2009. The 86% drop marked a 13-year low. Before the recession, Harley had been trying to reach emerging markets like women and young adults with marketing events, beginner bikes, and smaller, more fuel-efficient models. But it had little success. And at the end of 2009, the company reported $55 million in losses. So to survive the recession, the company refocused on the kind of bike it knew its core customer wanted, which were big, loud models. And it worked. Profits rode back up to $844 million in 2014. But not everything was as good as it appeared. Those profits just masked the brand's long-term issues.
If you looked at a chart, what you would see is not, this kind of thing where it goes like that, but more like you're looking at this kind of slow erosion.
The first issue is that Harley's core customer is aging. In 1985, a motorcycle owner's median age was 27. By 2003, it was 41. And by 2018, it rose to 50, which means Harley-Davidson's customer base is only getting older, and right now, no one's taking its place. The second factor is the price. Harleys are expensive. According to the New York Times, the average cost of a Harley is about $20,000. They're also not practical vehicles for commuting and usually end up becoming pricey toys. Which leads to the third and final problem. Harley-Davidson's brand just hasn't captivated millennials the same way it did baby boomers. And the baby boomers that helped the brand thrive also burdened the company with the reputation that Harleys are only for middle-aged white men. trapping the company between brand loyalists and future growth. But Harley-Davidson isn't going down without a fight. The person tasked with solving these issues is Harley's CEO, Matt Levatich.
He has the most difficult job in the world. He has the choice of just sitting there and riding out this slow erosion, but he's decided that he's going to take this opportunity, I think wisely, to try to ensure a better future.
One way Levatich is doing this is with Harley-Davidson's buyback program.
That is a program that Harley offers on their entry-level bike known as the Sportster, where you can buy a newer Sportster and trade it in within a year and get every dollar you spent buying that bike on an upgrade. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet and then upgrade to something that's better suited to you after you kind of figure it out.
Under Levatich, the company is focusing on reaching out to new riders. When Business Insider reached out to Harley-Davidson for comment, a representative sent over a release about the company's current strategy, which focuses on expanding its global market and launching new products like electric bikes and smaller models. But right now, there's another obstacle standing in Harley's way.
We will have a 25% tariff on foreign steel and a 10% tariff on foreign aluminum when the product comes across our borders.
Which means it's now more expensive to produce motorcycles in America. In response, the European Union introduced a retaliatory tariff on US goods, including bourbon and motorcycles, which the New York Times reported would have made the bikes about $2,200 more expensive in Europe. To avoid the tariffs, Harley continued to shift manufacturing to other countries, which Trump and some of Harley's core customers didn't appreciate.
Harley-Davidson, please build those beautiful motorcycles in the USA, please, okay? Don't get cute with us. Don't get cute.
In contemporary industrial economics, you don't build the bikes in the US and put them on a boat and send them where you want to sell them. You manufacture them at the point of sale, and that way they can be properly aligned with the market.
With all these factors in play, can Harley-Davidson grow its business while protecting its brand?
They are stuck, but they're stuck with a not unappealing problem, which is that even though they're stuck, they can still make a lot of money on the stuckness. You know, they still control a huge percentage of the market, and they're able to use that market control and the products that they sell in it to generate very substantial profits and share those profits with their investors.
And Harley-Davidson can then use those profits to reinvest in the business and try new things.
The brand equity that Harley has is infinitely valuable. It's amazing.
But who knows if that...
Okay, yeah, so that's about the brand, Harley-Davidson. It's a USA brand, like I said. But you know, what's fascinating about the story of Harley-Davidson is this. The decision that has to be made to be loyal to their old customers, were the ones that made them boom, right? Or to adapt to the new changing needs of the market. See, that just that delicate decision is able to show you how much branding affects buying decisions. You get the sense, right? So I think that's the moral of the story for today's lesson. We really have to think through the expenses that we make, because not only are we buying products today, but in a sense, we're buying into the future if we think about it, because the products that we buy today can define us tomorrow. So that's all I had for you today for today's Financial Literacy Forum interaction. I hope it was worth it. Is there anyone who would like to say anything or contribute before we conclude our interaction today? There's no one? Okay, so the question that I'll leave for you today then is, what are you going to do about your intentional buying? Are you going to what first step are you going to take? Are you going to start to do more research about the products that you buy? Are you going to make a vision board to do your lifestyle planning? Are you going to try and look into ways to stop impulsive buying? And some of those things that we've just discussed. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure from me and the team. Team, I think we can say bye also to those that are watching us online. So bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good evening.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.